Former General Manager of the Lagos State Office for Disability Affairs, Dairo, joins me now in the studio for more on this development. Mr. Dairo, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Let us begin with the theme for this year's commemoration. It has to do with amplifying the leadership of persons with disabilities in the spirit of inclusiveness. What do you consider the most sustainable way in this regard? Is it the usual appointment quota, or giving a free and fair chance for everyone to develop so that that opportunity can come?
Well, thank you very much. If I'm to what you call the appointment quota, my more rightfully to be described as affirmative action, which is what has applied in all areas or other areas of equity, of inclusion, like gender, for example. But, speaking directly to the spirit of the leadership, and, the thing here is for change to be inclusive, it has to be systemic, it has to be structural. And because disability is something that affects virtually every aspect of our life, so how do you begin to make that the policy and leadership decisions that affect everybody, and including persons with disability, if you don't have that representation? I posed a question once to someone, like, okay, like Lagos State, still the poster point of reference, in terms of inclusion in Nigeria so far. Now, and much is being done. You can see in that picture you saw what that man was lamenting in terms of transport. Now, right now, Lagos State is doing a lot of massive investment in terms of transport, blue, red rail, now the green rail, even, in the waterways and all of that. If we are not being intentional in making this inclusive, a time will come that having this thing will not be an issue anymore. The issue will now be, does it really measure up to international standard? Because Lagos is no longer benchmarking against Nigeria as it were. We are benchmarking against international standard. And I can see that there's been a consistent synergy between the need for inclusion and every other aspect of government activities. Like there has been that, interplay between Lamata and ensuring that all their facilities and infrastructure are accessible to persons with disability. Let me make two direct inferences. Like if you look at Lagos State Safety Commission, for example, part of their checklist has also included the issue of disability. Something as simple as your ramp, if that ramp is not the appropriate gradient and length, and it could even become a danger. If, for example, it's situated somewhere close maybe to the generator house, that means there's likelihood of oil spillage on it. It becomes more slippery. So it's a safety issue.
As of today, what do you consider the compliance level with public infrastructure?
Well, it's a growing thing.
In Lagos? In
Lagos, it's a growing thing, and don't forget that many of the infrastructures, some of them are old, they've been done already, and any engineer will tell you that it's far more difficult and expensive to you understand, than to put it in from the beginning. And that's why that effort is there from the beginning, from the design and the construction, to ensure that all public facilities in Lagos State, and one of which I can attest to, are our roads. I take you to task if you see any road done by Lagos State government right now that doesn't have the layback that for people with disability, that doesn't have that accessible bridge for people with disability. They are all there. But I just want to appeal to society to allow these things to function as designed. A lot of times you find that this space are taken over by hawkers and sellers and and the rest of that. So which also calls to this, to all of us to be more alive to ensuring that the issue of the rights of persons with disability is not just about charity. It's something that affects all of us.
It's a fundamental human right.
It's a fundamental.
Now, the EU is advocating for proper implementation of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Act. How do we bridge that implementation gap? Because they say we have fine laws in this regard, but implementation has been a challenge.
Well, we need to start seeing those laws beyond matter of tokenism. We need to start seeing to the reality of really getting letting it translate to structures, programs, and policies.
Who are the stakeholders in this regard?
Well, the stakeholders here are also people with disabilities themselves. And I also want to use this opportunity to take the leadership of persons with disability themselves to task, because a lot of time government mean well. But when the leadership of persons with disability are more focused or raise more concern over issues of handouts and all, yes, granted, there's a lot of poverty and welfareism, but beyond welfareism, there are structural issues. Like that guy, for example, there's no amount somebody could have given him that will be enough for him to augment his transport every other time he needs to go out. But if they make the issue of accessible transport a priority, and they have that constructive and sustained engagement with government on that like manner,
it will benefit more.
It will benefit more of them.
Indeed. Well, that's our time. Former General Manager, Lagos State Office for Disability Affairs, Dairo, thank you so much for talking.
Thank you for having me.